Everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. So you guys probably all know by now that the families who tragically lost their children in the Sandy Hook massacre have been suing conspiracy theorist Alex Jones for his vile, completely unconscionable attempt to smear them. He just made his disturbed followers believe that these people were crisis actors and at the worst time in their lives. So as part of the lawsuit against him, or lawsuits, Jones was supposed to sit for a deposition. This was supposed to happen on March 24th and 25th. Well, Jones said that his doctor advised him to go to the emergency room due to a medical condition. He said that it was very serious. We don't know exactly what it was, but he said it necessitated immediate treatment or something worse could happen. He was, however, well enough to host his InfoWars show on those same 2 days. So the plaintiff's attorney went to court and they asked the judge to impose sanctions on Jones and then also to throw him in jail. They said, until he complies with the court-ordered deposition, please put him in jail. Well, the judge found that because Jones was well enough to work, he had no excuse for skipping the deposition. So the judge said, okay, I'm ordering him to pay $25,000 each weekday, so 5 days a week, beginning on April 1st until he complies. So no jail time, but a $25,000 a day slap on the wrist. And the judge said that the fines and the contempt charge would be purged when and if he complies, when he completes the 2 days of questioning. So this wasn't like he was going to owe this money forever, just until he decided, okay, I'll do it. Well, Jones appealed the decision. He lost. So he was expected to begin his depositions this week, and the trial is then scheduled for later this month, although the trial is really just to determine how much money he has to pay these families, because he already lost both of the cases. He lost in Texas and Connecticut based on default judgments. So that was early last week that all of that went down. But then, oh my God, okay, it was just revealed at the end of last week, just a few days after all that happened, that Jones might be hiding massive amounts of money from these Sandy Hook families. There's a newly filed motion with the court where the plaintiffs allege that Jones has moved millions of dollars to offshore accounts to avoid paying these families. So here's the deal. The document states that over the course of 3 years, this was beginning in 2018, when the families first filed the lawsuit against him, Jones withdrew a total of $18 million from the parent company of InfoWars. So there's a parent company called Free Speech Systems that owns InfoWars, his show. That $18 million was drawn out, like I said, over a 3-year period, in addition to a $600,000 salary that he pays himself. And they say that many of the withdrawals coincided with losses that Jones suffered in court. So here's the alleged scheme. Here's how it worked. Here's what they allege that he's doing or has done. The court filing mentions that there's a company called PQPR. The plaintiffs claim that Jones and his family members control PQPR and that InfoWars has been, quote unquote, paying PQPR for some reason, for unknown reasons. So, for example, when Jones lost his appeal trying to block this defamation case, all of a sudden, PQPR said, oh, Free Speech Systems owes us $54 million. All of a sudden, $54 million is owed, which, by the way, accounted for nearly all of InfoWars' assets, according to the Daily Beast. So the InfoWars parent company, this Free Speech, whatever the heck, starts sending money to PQPR. And then from there, PQPR transfers all of this money into shell corporations. And the plaintiffs say that those shell corporations are also controlled by members of Jones's family. What a coincidence, right? The plaintiff's attorney said, quote, "They're transfers designed to siphon off assets to make them judgment proof." Imagine being such a subhuman, vile piece of shit that first you target parents that have just lost a child. You target parents that have been through the most unimaginable pain, sorrow, grief that someone could ever experience. You sick your rabid, lunatic followers on them so that these people have to go into hiding. They fear for their own lives after losing a child because they're receiving horrific death threats from your psycho followers. And then when you finally have to answer for these heinous actions, rather than going, you know what, I went too far, I did something wrong, this was wrong, I apologize, this was unbelievably cruel, I want to make amends. No, you drag these same people through years of litigation, and then you hide all of your assets. What a fucking coward he is. And it blows my mind that people still take health advice from this guy. It's truly laughable. I can only assume and imagine that his followers also get their investment advice from homeless people, because that would be equivalent. Anyway, I cannot wait to see what happens with these new revelations about him hiding his money. Unreal, absolutely unreal. So I just feel so horrible for these people. I really hope that this judge takes issue, that something can be done to retrieve this money, and that the penalties for what he's done to these families is even compounded, is made even worse for him because he tried to hide his assets. And I hope his family gets dragged into it. I hope every family member who put their name on documents for shell corporations and for this PQPR BS seemingly, allegedly bullshit corporation, I hope they all get in trouble. I'm hoping charges can be brought against them. Make it happen. Seriously, these people are the scum of the earth. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. I will absolutely keep you posted on this. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.